Sandra, you're right. It does look like YouTube tops Facebook today. So, welcome, guys. Last show of the year, which is kind of nice. I can't believe we are starting a new year tomorrow. That seems incredible to me. It seems like just yesterday it was June, but it is what it is. I guess we're going to go on to 2025, and I can't believe it. And I'm actually shocked y'all are here today because it is New Year's Eve. Yay! Although we don't have big plans, you can tell I'm in my sweatshirt. I'm planning on lounging at the house, probably be in bed before the new year. Who knows? We'll see. There's no telling what my husband and I will do, but we are not leaving this house to go out anywhere. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. I don't know if y'all saw, if you're not a member of the Education Connection, you probably didn't see these. So I'll share with you. You remember I showed y'all how to make stockings for Brother Stowe's a couple of weeks ago. Well, I ended up doing stockings for everybody, and everybody's had a different decorative fill on them that did something that they liked. So this is my husband's pickleball one, and then this is Princess's paws, and then I had thread spools on mine. Now, my stepmom, I did paintbrushes for hers, but I left hers with her. So we will take ours back down there to Florida, but she was afraid she would lose ours. So I'm keeping them with me for now. Figured I'd share that with you, but you can do that um, with any in the hoop project. So like if you have one of Embroidery Gardens bags, instead of doing the stippling, you could do no sew for the stippling and put in a decorative fill. So you can do that trick for anything. And that's kind of one of those cool things about software or about a machine that lets you do the custom fill. So the Luminaire or the Avenir, either one. Luminaire 3. So it does have to be upgraded to a 3 or be a 3. It has to have that third upgrade on it. That's where you got the custom fills. So they were fun. I guess I spent 2 days making them. I will tell you that I did make one and forgot to put the hanger on it, so I had to make it again. So I've actually got my stepmom's over here twice. Hers is on the other place. So, all right. So welcome, Sharon. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year to everybody. Sandy and Patty. So everybody, I'm proud of you. You showed up today. I just did not think anybody would show up, especially when I didn't post it in very far. And I love it. My husband is a pickleball fiend. If he could play it every day, if his body could stand it, he would play it every day. But his body cannot stand it anymore. So he just kind of it wears him out to play it. He'll all weekend long. If he could remember to stop after 2 hours instead of do the marathon all day, he would probably be okay. But he does a marathon. He will spend 4 or 5 hours out there on the pickleball courts. So happy New Year to you too, Aaron. He's going to celebrate with the East Coast and then go to bed. If I lived on the West Coast, that would be good. And we may make it to East Coast time. We will probably not make it to Central time. But who knows? One can never tell. We have some ucky weather here today, though. So, getting out in it, not so much. It is from Amsterdam. Good to see you. What was I going to say? Ucky weather. It's getting cold. Wind's blowing. Not much a way to go. So, you took the day off today, Patty. So you get to be live with us. So, hey, DJ. All right. So Yvonne asked a question, and actually a couple of people have asked questions. Let's see here. Edna, let me answer yours first. She asked if there's a way to do color shuffle in software versus on the machine. That is actually specifically a machine function. Okay. We can kind of get there, but not in the same manner. So let me kind of show you what I came up with. And it is a PE Design 11 feature. It's not going to go back any versions. It is going to be an 11 feature because it allows you to, let me share my screen. It allows you to change your color palette. So let's say we want to do a variety. We want to see what we can get out of pink. So what I would say is go up to your options pull down menu, go down to options, and then choose edit user thread chart. Now I'm going to delete the chart that I created so that you can kind of get it. Pick a thread chart that has a lot of colors in it for this. That's one of, and brothers, the brother thread chart is not going to be that one. If you have to have color 101, then pick the thread chart that you have. But let's say I go with Robison Anton polyester. Okay, it's got lots of pinks in here. So I'm just going to come and grab the first one, hold my shift key down and grab down to this end right here and add. Oops. I want to cancel that. I want to do a new chart. I forgot one critical thing there. You need to say new chart. Okay. We're going to call this one pinks. All right. Well, it doesn't like that. Pinks. I thought I deleted the pinks chart. Delete chart. All right. So let's do new chart and we're going to call it pinks. Now I'm going to go up here and choose a thread palette. So we're going to choose Robison Anton polyester today, and I'm going to pick down to here. So I just picked the first one, held down my shift key, and grabbed all of those. Now, I don't want that one right there. It doesn't look like a pink to me. I don't think I want that one, but you can put it in just in case. That's not really a pink to me. We'll add those, and then we'll take out the first two items. Let's just delete those items. We'll remove them. All right, and then we'll say, okay. So now, if you come in and you grab a design, pick a design, any design. I'm going to grab something that obviously doesn't have pink in it, and we'll go into the select color palette. This is how you change colors of a design to match your thread palette. So if I click that and I choose pinks from my thread palette pull down menu and say, okay, it will automatically put it into pinks. So it can do somewhat, but not what you're thinking. Okay. So that's about the closest way you can, that's the closest thing I can get you to in software. Okay. So it's not really there, but you can kind of emulate it. You'd have to do blues, you'd have to go to greens. And, you know, if you didn't want any darks and you wanted a few darks and lights, you could change around that. But it's going to base it off of what it thinks it needs to do it. So it's not true color shuffle. Okay. Now, Yvonne, your question was convert to blocks, convert to stitches, convert to outline. Well, convert to stitches is one of those that you can't do it with a design that's already in stitches because that's already in fixed stitch format. When do I use it? If I want to modify something about an outline and I need to do it stitch by stitch, then I will convert it to stitches. For instance, if I had text in there and I wanted to add tie-off stitches, I would convert that to stitches, and then I could edit those stitches and add in my own stitch points. Other than that, you're generally not going to do that unless you need to convert something to stitches in order to convert it to outlines. So it kind of just depends. Okay. If I were, if I needed to edit blocks of it, okay, like I want to change the density because a section's too dense, or if I need to adjust the shape of something, then I would convert that to blocks. All right. If it just is a hot mess and I want to turn it into an applique, then I will convert it into outlines, and I will convert parts to outlines. So the difference is convert to outline is going to convert the entire thing into an outline. Convert parts to outline still keeps those sections, but they are individual so it's going to be individual sections instead of one big blob. So let me show you what I mean. If we look at this design right here, and I go over to my stitches tab, that's where we find these options. If I convert it to blocks, let's look at it in realistic preview so you can see what we've got going on. It will keep the stitch type. So if I convert to blocks and I say normal, I generally leave it at normal, guys. I don't tend to do any extras. It keeps your stitch types. That's the closest one to that's going to do that. Let me undo and let's look and see. Yeah, that did a pretty good job. Now, this lets me come in here and say, all right, you know, I don't like the stitches. I don't like the shape of this. Let me come and adjust that shape. So you can ungroup it if you want, or you can click your Alt key on your keyboard and select a segment of it, and then select Point Tool will let you adjust that. So you can adjust the curve, you can adjust the actual block shape. So you can see that this particular shape was made out of several different blocks. They have layered them on top of each other. So if you wanted to adjust that, you can adjust it. You can adjust the angles. It gives you that control. You could also change its stitch type from a satin to a fill stitch. So if we look up, so now you can see I've got a fill stitch there on that tip instead of a satin stitch. I think I would rather leave it at a satin stitch, but it does give you that option. Okay. Now, if we undo, let's just delete that so I don't have to undo a gazillion times. We'll just delete that one and go back and grab it again. If instead I convert it to outlines and I convert the whole thing to outline, the whole thing is going to turn into one solid color. When would I use that? Well, if I want to try to do an applique around the outside edge, let's say I could copy and paste the original design and I could do a different style of, I could applique around it. Of course, I've got the applique key for that. So I don't use this one very often unless I just need a shape to dig a hole. And I don't have to do that anymore because I've got my background fill key. So I don't use that feature as often as I used to. What I might do, though, is convert outline and convert parts to outline, because then this lets me go in here and grab individual color segments. Let's say I grab this color segment right here. I do have to ungroup first. And let's say I want to grab these colors right there. Then I can go in and I can use my applique wizard and I can replace and click OK. So it gives me the capability of creating an applique out of something that I couldn't normally do it. Now, that is a hot mess and I would not do that. But just so you know, you could do that. It just depends on what your design looks like. That one right there, that's a hot mess, not going to work very well. But let's see here if we make this one bigger and we then convert it to outlines. Now we can come in and delete these big black sections. And let's ungroup. No, I don't want to delete the black totally. I may have to play with that. Ungroup. Let's just say, let's hide that for now. You can come in and select point, get rid of these extra little pieces down here. Maybe. Why is it not letting me grab all of those? Oh, this is a hot mess. So I'm going to split at point. And then I'm going to split at point here. And I'm going to split at point over here. Now I'm going to come and grab these things right here and get them out of the way. Okay, so now I can combine this together with my Alt key. I can attach it. Now I've got a fill area again. We'll delete that right there, that little extra, and look and see if you've got any things going funky. And this definitely has some things going funky. So when I would try to turn this into an applique, I'm guessing it would be ugly. So let's see what happens now. Applique wizard, replace. Not the finest of appliques, but it's done. Okay. So it just depends. It's neither are something that I use that often, but if I don't want to start and create the wheel again, then it is an option for me to play with. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, we have gotten more the simplicity. I'm not sure what we're calling our line of thread now these days, guys. I'll be honest. I don't know if we're Pace Setter Pro, if we are back to simplicity. I'm not sure what we're calling our thread brand at this time, not being in a store all the time. But yes, we have lots more colors than we used to. So if you're looking in the Brother thread palette in PE Design, if you go to the color, let me come grab something to draw here. If you go to the Brother Enhanced chart, that gives you more. Let's see here. Where is the Pace Setter Pro? If you choose Pace Setter Pro, this is where we have the majority of our threads. We do have some more that are not listed in there. I think they've added some recently. I guess I do need to unhide this stuff so that I can get rid of it. And let's see, show objects. Let's come and select it all. Okay. Well, thanks, Sandy, because I can't keep up with it. We switch back and forth so much, it's hard to keep up with, depending on who we want to pay for the name. I think Pacesetter, I think, is Japan, so we have to pay them for that name, I do believe. So it just depends. How do you cut trims when using the text in PE Design? DJ, what machine do you have? If you have a multi-needle, you can do that. If you don't, you have to do it on the machine itself. The single needle machines are programmed to cut at 5 millimeters or less unless you turn, 5 millimeters or greater unless you turn that off. You can increase that length on the machine itself to where, let's say it's 10 millimeters instead of 5 millimeters. And then anything under 10 millimeters will not trim. A multi-needle, you do have control over that. So, but it doesn't, it only works on multi-needle machines. So you have to select a multi-needle hoop in order to get that functionality. Now, when I come in here, I can come in and grab my text and say, and let's come here and just pick a font. So if I take off show by color, I can then, you can turn off your trims in between all of them, or you can turn it off in between specific letters. Now, there is one other thing that you can do to make the jump stitches longer. Let's select them all here. If you go into your sewing attributes, and this only works for built-in text, okay? You can have the connection at the default. So let's look at where our connections are for this particular font. The default is from here to here, and from here to here. You can say the closest, that is technically going to try to keep you from having to trim. So if you look, it's changed my jump stitches from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, instead of longer hops. So that would be less likely to trim because it's going to be less than 5 millimeters. If we look at that between each of those sections, that's 0.7 millimeters. That's not going to trim. So if you don't want it to trim, try closest. Farther is going to try to force it to trim. Okay, so if I put farthest on it because I know it's going to have an issue, that gives me a good likelihood that it will trim. So closest will give you the best option of it not trimming. Let's see if that does. Let me double check and make sure that I'm not lying to you when I say it only works for built-ins, but I'm pretty sure it only works for built-ins. Yep. So it's grayed out on TrueType fonts. It only works for the built-ins. All right, so I can answer that question. Paula, why does the Applique wizard get grayed out on the replace option? Well, it happens when there are crisscross lines that are overlapped, okay? Or if it's an open line, the Applique wizard doesn't even activate. So let me show you what I mean. So remember that, let's go back in and grab that design we converted to outline here a little bit ago. I'll go and convert it. We'll convert parts to outline. And I'm going to delete this section right here so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to just get rid of that part right there. Okay, if I grab let me ungroup. You do have to ungroup in order for this to work. If I grab this red and I go into my Applique wizard, oh, replace should have been gone, but it's not. Okay, so let's go in and select our point tool. Now, I'll make it not work. So now you see the replace is gone. What happened is I crisscrossed one of my lines. And you can do that accidentally. A great place for that to have happened would have been right here. So if you look at this little section right here, you see how those little tips are popping out? Sometimes those little tips are like here. Let me take this one and move it back over here to where it's not crisscrossed any longer. And let's see what happens. So I've crisscrossed this one on purpose. And even though it still shows as a fill, well, I didn't get it crisscrossed. Let's see here. Let's turn on my outline to a zigzag stitch so I can make it happen. And you may not realize that it has happened, but anytime a fill crisscrosses itself, so it's kind of hard to tell that that's happened unless you really zoom in on it. But anytime it crisscrosses over itself, the replace button is going to be grayed out. Add will be all that it lets you have. So then the only thing that can do is a patch. So how do I figure out where that is? Well, exactly what I just did to make it happen. I turn on my zigzag outline and I go look for blobs. So if you look here, I would fix that blob. I would delete until I don't have a blob there. And I would smooth that out. And I would delete that one just because, I mean, that's going to be your best option. Delete until you no longer have blobs. This one right here, it's going to look ugly when it does it, so you may as well go ahead and delete it. If you turn on an outline for an area that looks crazy, it will automatically draw your attention to what you need to do. And when you do that, then when you go do the applique, it would look better. Now, this one, I will sit here and tell you, I would not turn into an applique because this whole thing down at the bottom, but that's the way that one looks. So if you look at your applique wizard now, when you replace, it did a much better job than it did the first time I did it because all of those little jagged points are gone. We're not saving those changes. Okay. Okay, so if you bring your FCM file in, so if I go to my scan and cut tab and I go to import and let me find something. Oh, actually, this right here may work. Let me change my hoop size so we're working with something we can work with. Okay, so if I grab this, now granted, this is one just basic piece, replaces there. Having said that, if it's not, how can I make it not here? Let's find a point that we can crisscross. And it's usually really minor, guys. It's usually just one out of place. Now you'll notice add is the only thing you can do. And that's not a noticeable thing right there. That would be one of those, okay, let me look at it. Let's see where's the mistake? And the only way you can find it is to look at your points and see. And always look in corners. That is your most likely culprit. That's usually where it is, because even though I can fill this in, which is new to this version, before, if you crisscrossed, it wouldn't fill in for you. This version, they've given you that freedom to fill them in, but they're not going to let you make an applique out of it because you have an overlapping section. Does that make sense? Okay. Happy New Year, Joanne. Thank you. I hope you all have a great New Year's today. All right. Next question, or I'm trying to think. Y'all are being quiet today. Anybody have gotten anybody's BES silver come in yet? Let me know when that comes in for you. I know some of you have gotten your Avenires. Now, I'm going to sit here and say, you're going to have to be patient. Yes, I know you all thought it was going to be a fully functioning machine. So did we. There was a lot of pressure to go ahead and ship it. So once they got it to what they thought was a stable state, they went ahead and did it, and they will, you will get another update come January, the end of January. Most of the majority of the functions should be working. I have not touched one lately. You all get them before we do. So once the ones that have been out and around about come back and get reworked, we will get those. So I'm hoping we'll get one sometime in January, but it will not be, mine will have been shipped all over the country multiple times. So it could work, it could not, who knows? Well, we shall see, we shall see. But be patient. They always come around. They make it right. In the end, you're going to have a lovely machine. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Just be patient. That's the mantra. Be patient. So, have you played with it, Yvonne? Okay. So what I would say is report it, take a video of it, do anything you can to document what you're doing when it happens on the sewing side, Linda. Documentation helps us fix, and actually it's the development department pushed it on us. it was more of a it was more of the development team in Japan that wanted it to go this year. So yeah, it just, it is what it is. And I think Baby Lock wanted theirs to go out the door. Baby Locks can't go out the door if ours doesn't go out the door. So that's where everything kind of went in. So, yeah, I like the thread, the theme painter is very cool on the BES Silver. But yeah, seriously, just document what's happening so that it can get addressed, because Brother is really good about addressing things immediately. They will work as fast as they can on it, especially if customers are having issues. So what I would sit there and say is document what's happening. If you can video it, if you can make it happen more than once and video it, that's optimal. Okay. But grabbing on social media is not going to really help, because they need to know exactly what you're doing. So you were winding a bobbin and it froze. Okay, well, take a video of it. Do a video of anything that happens. The Stylus does not have a drawing pen. It has a stylus that you can use. And I mean, I actually liked that very well. Having said that, you can also use a capacitive stylus. It does not have to be a powered one. You can use a capacitive stylus, and it works. No, the BES Silver is for anybody. Anybody that, actually it's multi-format, so it's for anybody. Yes, it is recorded. You can catch the beginning. It will be on YouTube and on Facebook after we're done. Yeah, it is fun to play with. I actually go the other route. So I'm having fun creating in PE Design and then sending it over to the BES Silver and playing with the theme painter. So I think that is cool. And for those of you that wonder what I'm talking about with theme painter, let me see if I can give you an example. Let's just do new page. And let me draw a shape here. And we will add a decorative fill. This is one of my favorite things. I'm not going to turn on the outline, and let's go into our sewing attributes and let's pick a decorative fill. How about, my sewing collection's up, so let's do scissors. And I'm just going to save this. File, save as, and we'll save it as scissors. Now, if I go into my BES Silver and I go open and, oh shoot, where did I save it? That is the question. Where did I save that? Facebook Live. That's easy enough. Scissors. Did I spell them? Oh, there they are. Okay. So now what I can do is I can select it and I can go into my thread painter and you can pick a different thread palette and have it just do its thing. And if you want to just arrow down through them, arrowing on your keyboard will let you check them all out as you go along. And you can make your own paint, your own themes. You can create a new one. You can adjust one and save it. Just don't save over the original. Be sure and rename it. But it allows you to totally change the look of it. And it's quite fun. Let's see here. Let's find one that we like. And this can be done to any design. It doesn't just have to be one of these. It can be done to text. It can be done to any design. I kind of like brights. Let's go with brights. Now, if I wanted more purple, I can change my yellow and make more purple. If I want more yellow, I can make more yellow. If I want more green or less green. And then you can say, okay, and it will, nope, we don't want to save that. We don't want to override it. So there you go. And it's automatically adjusted it and changed it out. Yes, I have sewn it out, and it is very cool. I don't know. I did the trucks somewhere. I may have thrown them away. Hold on. Let me see if I've thrown it away or not. Or if it's hanging out somewhere in this room. I must have tossed them. But yes, I have. And it is so much fun to play with. That can be done for any design. So let's come in and let's say we want to do text. Oops. And I'm going to change it to a pattern stitch. That message is telling me my stitch is too long for a satin stitch. So I changed it to a pattern stitch. Now let's hit thread painter. I guess I do have to select it first. Now I can hit thread painter. So if you don't like how it adjusted it, you can, Princess is telling me it's time for a walk. You can adjust it. So you can, let's say I want all of my D to be yellow. I can keep going until all of my D is yellow. If I want to delete a color, you just basically move it until it's gone. Let's say I want my C to be all the way over. Oops. That one's tricky. Too far. Anyhow, say okay, don't override it. There you go. So you can do it anytime. Anytime. So Betty, I am so glad to hear that you are loving your decorative fills. I have a blast making them. It's always a puzzle to try to put together how I want to do it. I think you're going to have fun with your BES Silver and your PE Design together. They work nice with each other. You can open up a version 11 file in there and work with it. No problem with that, which is very nice. So I think you all are going to have fun with these. I'd like to see what you guys get to playing with your theme painter. Let's grab another design. We'll grab a different. Let's see what we can hit. So instead of color shuffle, Edna, I can play with this. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's say we wanted to go into our designs. Let's see what we've got. Let's say we want to do that piece of lace and we want to theme painter it. Thread painter. Let's see if I can I may have crashed and burned here. There we go. Totally changed the look of that design. Just by choosing a different, let's see what chocolate does. And you can choose different thread palettes as well. So, I mean, mine's on the Brother Embroidery thread palette, but you could choose a different thread palette if you want. So let's say I wanted to go with Floriani. Let's go with Electric Rainbow, see what we get there. But it totally changes the way your design looks, and it gives you something new out of something old. That's kind of fun. You can also blend. If you blend, it's going to add more color stops in it. And let's say we want to go right. I have no idea. We'll play. See what happens. The other thing, so you can see it's giving you more colors in there. Now that's a lot of color stops. But let's see here. When we say, okay, I'm not going to overwrite the theme. We're going to let it do its thing here. It's going to take it a minute because it's got to assign it to all the stitches, and that's pretty stitch intensive. So here are all the different segments for it. And it's telling you it's got 13 colors for 24,000 stitches. So that's a lot of colors, but if you want to do it, you can certainly do it. But that is fun. Totally changes the way things are. It also has the one-step auto-digitizer. So this is the one step, and the auto-digitizer. This one, you don't really change things. It's coming out with what it comes out. Actually, I take that back. It's the one step that doesn't change. You touch next. You're not going to take any of these colors away because it's just going to take it to the next color, and unless you're trying to get rid of a segment. You can apply your recipes here if you want, and then touch next. If you don't want the backgrounds to sew, you can always click them off here if you forget, or if they are part of another segment. If that color is part of something else, you can get rid of it later. And you can also change things from a fill to an outline. So you can see how I just changed that to an outline. I don't think I want to do that. We'll go back to fill. A steel stitch is a satin stitch, so instead of a running stitch, it would be a satin stitch. Let's go back to our fill. We'll say next. If you add an outline, it's going to outline around every segment. Add a border is going to put a border around the whole kit and caboodle, and your border can be an applique or a satin stitch. And let's go ahead and say next. Mine is done. We'll say finished. And then if you want to come in and play with it a little bit more, you can come in and change the stitch type. So let's go into realistic preview here in 3D view. You can change it from smooth to, let's say we want to give him a pattern for his nose. Now you've got a pattern. You can also change the stitch direction. The easiest way to do that is go into your tools tab and grab your edit shape tool and the black line, the black little dots. If you rotate those, right mouse click away, then you've changed your stitch direction. And you could then convert that to applique if you want to. That's probably a little complicated for this one. But yeah, it's a bit complicated. It doesn't know what to do with that. It's a bit complicated. The other digitizing tool is a one-step. So this one gave me some options to play with. One step is going to give you get what you get. So it's going to do it and run forth and go forth and multiply. So when it finishes, if you don't want that white around the outside, find it in your sequence view window and press delete on your keyboard. It is now gone. But there is no adding outlines to it. There's none of that. But you can still change the stitch type. You can change the angles. You can change the undersewing. You can apply a recipe after it's done. So you can come in here and say apply recipe and pick one. And you can get that. Okay, so let me come back over here. So this right here is what comes with the Stylus. Okay, this is the pen and this is the stylus. Okay, so if you want to use that, you can buy that from Brother. If not, if that's not what you want, get something with a tip that's like this or where I'm looking. Hold on. I've been rearranging this room and I don't know where my little stylus went. Remind me and I'll send you a link. Okay. It's what I use on a lot of stuff. I use it on my scan and cut. I use it on my ton needle. It's just got a gray tip on it. I'll send, and it's actually got two tips. It's got a gray tip and then a little plastic tip on the other end. I use the gray tip. That's my favorite tip. Remind me and I'll tell you, I'll put a link in this after we're done. I'll add a link to it to an Amazon where you can buy one. Yeah, it just comes with a little hard thingy. And that's actually what I use. Now, there is not a drawing tablet that we have for that. However, as Patty said, or so I would go with the tablet, Fran, if you can get a tablet. That is, I mean, I use the Artspira app to draw more than I use the screen to draw. I'll be honest. If I'm trying to sign something, I'm on my tablet. I agree. On a phone, it's tiny. It's not easy to use. Yes, everybody should have this with at least a machine. It should have come with your Stylus and it should have come in your scan and cut, and it will work on the Stylus. I'll look and see if I can find one, the one that I use the most. And it doesn't happen to be this. Hold on. This right here comes in all kinds of colors, but this gray end will work on your scan and cut. It will work on your multi-needle. It'll work on any of the screens, actually. It's the capacitive stylus, but it doesn't need power, which means it can work on your machine. The ones that need power are not our friends, really. So, and this side would work as well. It's just not. I like this end better. Okay. Any other questions for me today? If not, I am going to, I think I've answered everybody's questions today. Let me think if I missed any. I'm looking over here to see. Oh, Donna's snowman sticker. Okay. Snowman sticker should be pointing in the head should be pointing in the direction that you want your design to go. Okay. So if you're printing your snowman sticker in software, it's going to automatically print it to the top. All right. So let me show you what I mean. If we're let's put a directional design in here. Let me just come in and we'll put this right here. When I go up and I go to print and I do print preview. Nope, that's not what I want. I want print setup. Print setup. Let me bring my menu over here. This little box right here, that button right there gives you your snowman. And if we say okay, it's going to automatically print. Now, if we go to print preview, I should have hit preview at the bottom of that. You can see that your snowman, the head of the snowman is at the head of your design. I know, baby. We'll go in a minute. The head of the snowman is at the top of the design. If you are placing the snowman on it yourself, and we're not talking on a template here, you're placing it on it yourself. You put the head of the snowman where you want the head of the design. So if you've hooped it and you've put your project in upside down, you want to have basically look at your design, look at your shirt or whatever you're putting it on first. Put your snowman with the head facing up towards the top of where you want the top to be. That's how you remember the snowman. The head goes to the top of the design. Okay. And so it doesn't matter. It will automatically rotate your design the way it's supposed to do. It's looking for that head, and that's how it knows to rotate. Okay. All right, y'all. You guys have a great and happy and safe new year. I will not see you for the next 2 weeks. I'm out of town in Bartlett for the next 2 weeks. So I leave on Sunday and I come back on Friday, and then I leave again on Monday and I come back on Friday. So I'm gone for the next 2 weeks. I will see you, I think, the week after that. Okay. If there are no other questions, then I'm going to say goodbye for today and Happy New Year. All right. Bye-bye.